Hey, welcome to Blackrock. I'm Hammy and this is our Hearthstone news update. The final new cards for Hearthstone's Blackrock Mountain new adventure mode are being announced, and we're taking a look at the first three here: Chromaggus, Solemn Vigil and Dragon Consort. First up we've got Chromaggus. For 8 mana, Chromaggus is a mid to really late game drop, and with a really strong power. Whenever you draw a card, put another copy into your hand. With 6 attack and 8 health, Chromaggus should stick on the table for a little while, and all importantly, is low enough attack wise to be underneath Big Game Hunter. Your opponent's going to have to find another way of removing it. In the late game, when some decks are running out of cards and sometimes Paladin can be hanging on in, as well as other classes, Chromaggus gives you a really nice way of extending the life of your deck. We're still getting our head around Chromaggus, but whenever you draw a card, and putting another copy of that card into your hand is going to be really powerful in the mid to mid-late game. When we have a look at Dragon Consort, which gets dragons out for 2 less mana, you can soon see how an even earlier Chromaggus could really give you not only a card advantage, but a control advantage on the table. People used to run a lot of faceless manipulated copy minions. Now with Chromaggus you can fill up your hand to your heart's content. As it's a neutral dragon, Chromaggus can be splashed into a fair amount of decks. However, you're going to want a synergy where if you are drawing Chromaggus, playing it, and then drawing lots of cards in the mid to mid-late game, the cards that you're drawing can actually be played. For example, if you're grabbing a lot of cards with high mana cost, then you're going to get your hand clogged up rather quickly. Throughput is going to need to be an option. Next we've got Dragon Consort, a Paladin minion costing 5 mana and with 5 attack and health. Dragon Consort is a solid minion for its 5/5 stats, however the key is in that battle cry. The next dragon you play costs 2 mana less. Remember that there are a bunch of powerful dragons: Chromaggus, Ysera, Nefarian, Deathwing and many more, including the new dragons. So at worst you can pull in a dragon 2 mana earlier and perhaps 2 turns earlier than you could normally. Imagine being able to drop a Ysera on turn 7 and or any dragon with 2 mana less. That is pretty scary. Dragon Consort really lends itself well to a dragon-themed Paladin deck, and I'm sure we'll see it played a bunch with the new dragons, as well as potentially bringing some of the finishing dragons, the high mana ones that have previously existed, into more range for a Paladin. We're really excited to see how Dragon Consort will bring dragon decks together around Paladin, and we're sure it'll be pretty popular in Blackrock Mountain. Next up we've got Solemn Vigil. Solemn Vigil gives you 2 card draw, and costs 1 less for each minion that died this turn. There's a trend in Blackrock Mountain, with cards costing less for each minion that died this turn. It's seen in some other class cards, and it's good to see that Paladin have this too. Paladins can sacrifice a lot of minions in the early to mid game, particularly with muster for battle, and of course the silver hand recruits. Solemn Vigil therefore can have quite a bit of setup. Remember that it costs 1 less for each minion that died this turn. So if you need to be sacrificing silver hand recruits in the mid game, then suddenly you can have a Solemn Vigil in play for not too much mana that will let you grab 2 cards at a very key time. There's plenty of ways you can set up Solemn Vigil. It'll give some reliable mid-game draw power, and it's probably a bit more reliable than Paladin card draw options, which rely on your opponent having a larger hand. Thanks for watching our Hearthstone Blackrock Mountain card news update. For more card spoilers, be sure to subscribe and check out our other video playlist with more cards that have been announced for Blackrock Mountain.